5 megastructures that shouldn't exist. Some structures defy explanation. Built with no modern tools. Massive stones weighing hundreds of tons. Joints so perfect you can't even slip a razor blade between them. These aren't the works of ancient myths, they're real. And they raise one impossible question. How did ancient civilizations build them? Today we explore 5 ancient megastructures that shouldn't exist. If history as we know it is true, what you're about to see isn't speculation. These sites exist. You can visit them. You can stand in front of them. And you can ask yourself the same question that's puzzled engineers, archaeologists, and historians for decades. How? And perhaps more importantly, why? One. Baalbek's Trilithon, Lebanon. In the ruins of Baalbek, Lebanon, lies the Temple of Jupiter, home to the Trilithon, 3 of the largest cut stones in the world. Each stone weighs around 800 to 1,000 tons. To put that in perspective, the biggest stone in the Great Pyramid weighs about 80 tons. These are 10 times that. Even today, modern cranes would struggle to lift stones of this magnitude without dismantling and reassembling heavy equipment on site. And yet, there they sit, stacked with precision. The Trilithon stones rest atop a platform of smaller but still massive blocks, forming a base so finely aligned that it's hard to imagine they were placed without sophisticated tools. Some theorists believe these stones are far older than the Roman ruins built above them. The Romans, skilled as they were, likely built their temple on top of an even more ancient structure. This raises questions. Could an older civilization have had access to lifting technologies we've lost? Or were these stones somehow moved using techniques outside our current understanding, like acoustic levitation or harmonic resonance? Adding to the mystery, in a nearby quarry lies the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, an even larger monolith estimated to weigh 1,100 tons, never moved from its origin point. Why was it left behind? Was it too heavy, even for its builders? Excavations in Baalbek have revealed layers of occupation that stretch back thousands of years, including temples, altars, and inscriptions from various empires. But none have explained how those earliest stones were placed. Baalbek is more than an archaeological site. It's a monument to an unknown past, a riddle in stone. And the Trilithon may be the best evidence we have that our ancestors were capable of more than we ever imagined. If these stones were built today, they would be the subject of global engineering headlines. But because they were built long ago by people with no written explanation, they're often ignored. What if Baalbek isn't alone? What if there are sites just like it, silent witnesses to a lost chapter in human history? Because deep in the Andes, 2. Puma Punku, Bolivia. High in the Bolivian Andes, 12,000 feet above sea level, lies Puma Punku, a site that breaks every rule of what we think ancient people were capable of. Massive blocks of stone are scattered across the site, some weighing over 100 tons. But it's not the size alone that's baffling, it's the geometry. The 8-shaped blocks at Puma Punku are carved with such precision that their right angles and interlocking design rival modern machining. Some surfaces are so flat that laser measuring tools struggle to detect variance. The stone used, diorite and andesite, is harder than iron, making it almost impossible to carve without diamond-tipped tools. And yet, these stones show signs of advanced shaping, straight boreholes, and recessed cuts that suggest more than just hammer and chisel. Researchers have proposed theories ranging from lost high-tech tools to alien intervention. Archaeologists attribute the site to the Tiwanaku culture, dating it to around 500 to 600 AD. But the damage and scattered layout suggest a cataclysmic event. An earthquake or flood may have destroyed a much older, more sophisticated site that predated the Tiwanaku by thousands of years. What's also puzzling is the placement of the site itself. Transporting stones of that size up steep mountain terrain without wheels, cranes, or metal tools is a feat we can't replicate today. Some believe Puma Punku was once part of a vast Andean network of ceremonial and astronomical centers. Others believe it was a landing pad or energy site aligned with planetary positions. Satellite imagery shows potential alignments with solstices and equinoxes, suggesting astronomical significance. And the layout of the H-blocks may have been a functional component of a larger mechanism or power structure. In many ways, Puma Punku challenges the very definition of what ancient means. Because if a civilization thousands of years ago had this kind of knowledge, where did it come from? 3. The unfinished Obelisk Egypt. In the sun-scorched quarries of Aswan, Egypt, lies something both spectacular and haunting: the unfinished obelisk. Had it been completed, this single piece of granite would have stood over 137 feet tall and weighed more than 1,200 tons. For comparison, that's heavier than 200 African elephants. But the obelisk was never finished. A massive crack appeared in the stone during the carving process, and the project was abandoned. What remains is a frozen moment in time, a glimpse into an engineering process that defies modern understanding. Archaeologists believe this obelisk was intended to be one of the greatest ever erected, but its incomplete state is exactly why it's so intriguing. Unlike other monuments that have been shaped, relocated, and placed upright, we can study the unfinished obelisk in the middle of its creation. The quarry site reveals tool marks, not from chisels but long, deep grooves. Egyptologists say workers used dolerite pounding stones, bashing repeatedly until the granite gave way. But skeptics ask, if this was the method, where are the hundreds of dolerite stones? Why do some grooves curve in strange, uniform arcs? More curious still is the absence of supporting structures. No ramps, no sledges, no haul lines. Just a monolith too massive to move, carved with eerie precision. Some researchers speculate the Egyptians may have understood sound frequencies, or even employed some unknown vibrational technique. Ancient records speak of the god's voice splitting stone and lifting burdens. Could that be metaphor or forgotten science? Some suggest the concept of using harmonics or even electromagnetism, far-fetched by modern academic standards, but not out of place in alternative research. The site itself is situated near other lesser-known quarries and experimental carvings that imply a sophisticated understanding of stone behavior, especially in hot climates. Obelisks were not just decorative or monumental, they held religious, political, and cosmological significance. They pointed to the sky, many aligned with constellations or solstice events. The unfinished obelisk is a paradox, a failed monument that may hold the key to ancient mastery. It challenges the idea that ancient Egyptians relied solely on rudimentary tools and brute force. Perhaps they understood something we've forgotten, something buried in the bedrock of lost civilizations. And the bigger question, if this was their failure, what did their success look like? 4. Sacsayhuamán, Peru. Perched on a hilltop above Cusco, Peru, the fortress of Sacsayhuamán looks like the ruins of giants. Built from stones weighing up to 120 tons, the walls form a zigzag pattern that stretches hundreds of meters. But it's not just their size that astounds, it's their fit. The stones are cut with such intricate angles that they slot together like 3D puzzle pieces. Without mortar, not even a sheet of paper can slide between them. These walls have withstood centuries of earthquakes. They've endured conquests, looting, and time itself. The Inca revered Sacsayhuamán, but even they claimed the structure was older than their empire. To them, it was the work of the gods, or of a people who came before. How were these enormous stones transported from quarries miles away? Steep slopes? And how were they shaped with such flawless precision? Mainstream theories involve copper tools and manpower, but many blocks are harder than the tools supposedly used to shape them. And some stones have up to 20 angles, interlocking like fingers. Oral tradition offers a different story. that the stones were softened using a special plant extract, now lost to time. Other legends speak of the giants who walked the earth before men. These aren't just stories, they're echoed in carvings, myths and alignments found throughout the Andes. One hypothesis suggests that Sacsayhuamán wasn't just a fortress. It was an energy center, aligned to cosmic and magnetic forces. The zigzag pattern may represent lightning or the path of celestial bodies. Some researchers believe it acted as a kind of amplifier, channeling Earth's natural energies. There are even those who claim to feel a vibration or hum when standing between the stones, as if something is still active beneath the surface. When viewed from the air, the entire city of Cusco was laid out in the shape of a puma, Sacsayhuamán forming its head. The puma was sacred in Andean cosmology, representing the earthly realm, while the condor represented the heavens, and the serpent symbolized the underworld. Recent discoveries of subterranean tunnels and chambers beneath the site have reignited speculation. What were they used for? Storage? Ritual? Escape routes? Or perhaps they're remnants of something even older, buried long before the Inca rose to power. Tourists walk those paths today without realizing they're treading on stones that defy history. What remains today is not just a ruin, it's an insult to conventional history. Because according to the textbooks, this shouldn't be here, and yet, here it is. 5. Nan Madol, Micronesia. Drifting off the coast of Pohnpei in the Pacific Ocean lies Nan Madol, a mysterious city built on coral and stone, floating atop a tidal lagoon. It's often called the Venice of the Pacific, but it's weirder than that. The city is made up of nearly 100 artificial islets connected by canals. The buildings, palaces, tombs and temples are made from massive hexagonal basalt columns stacked like firewood. Some weigh up to 50 tons. No roads, no wheels, no cranes, and no explanation. The island has no native basalt, no wheeled transport, and no records of how this engineering marvel was built. According to Pohnpeian legend, the stones were flown through the air by twin sorcerers. Local elders say the city was built by a race of powerful spirits or ancient beings who could manipulate nature. Researchers have long speculated how the basalt was transported. Some believe it came from a neighboring island over 25 miles away, hauled by canoe and levered into place. But no one's ever demonstrated a successful reconstruction at scale. More baffling than the logistics is the city's purpose. Some say it was a seat of power for the Saudalur dynasty, a centralized ruling class that mysteriously vanished. Others propose Nan Madol was a sacred site, built to connect the islanders with the stars. Certain alignments suggest lunar tracking. The tombs align with tidal changes, hinting at an advanced understanding of both oceanography and astronomy. Some researchers believe Nan Madol functioned as a map, a mirror of the sky etched into the sea. The city's design is unlike anything else in the ancient world. The sea walls are meticulously engineered to channel water flow and reduce erosion, leading some to theorize that its builders had a deep understanding of hydrodynamics. Despite being surrounded by water, the city includes dedicated platforms and walkways that remain stable even during storms and tides. And yet, the site fell to ruin long before Western explorers arrived. Jungles swallowed the stones, coral crept in, and history forgot. Nan Madol remains largely unexplored. Its ruins extend beneath the water, as if hinting at a city far larger than we can see. Divers report structures below the surface. Walls, platforms, maybe even tunnels. Some believe the submerged sections connect to the lost continent of Mu, an ancient Pacific civilization erased by cataclysm. And others wonder if Nan Madol was merely one city. How many more lie buried beneath the waves? Whatever the truth, Nan Madol refuses to give up its secrets. Like the other sites we've explored, it raises one overwhelming question. Who were these people, and how much of their story have we lost? Final reflection. What do these 5 sites have in common? They're massive, mysterious, and utterly incompatible with the historical narrative we're taught. They whisper of lost technology, of civilizations that understood the Earth in ways we no longer do. They challenge the idea that progress moves in one direction. Because maybe we haven't just evolved forward. Maybe we've forgotten. Maybe these ancient sites are remnants, breadcrumbs from an age before ours. A world we don't remember, but one that left its mark in stone. These structures shouldn't exist, and yet they do. This is the ancient unknown.